And make some noise and please welcome Usif Musa!
How are we, Liverpool? Are we good? Yeah, nice to be here. Right, I've got to make this quick. My mum thinks I'm at a Quran recital. My name's Usif Musa. I'm 22 and I have a confession to make. I have this massive addiction to Instagram. I'm addicted to it because I found something that I really enjoy doing on there. Basically, what I like to do is follow people that I hate, go on their highlights, while watching their highlights, play some sad music, and imagine it's their memorial video. If you don't like the rest of the set, be sure to follow me and do the same thing. 22, man, been dating unsuccessfully. It's okay though. Anytime I'm insecure about my sex life, I just go on my spam emails and be like, bro, I got so many bitches on lock. All in my area. Yeah, a lot of people subscribe to porn. That's great. But went on a date recently, though. She was a massive Formula One fan. Any Formula One fans here? She was a massive Lewis Hamilton fan. She knew his whole history, like how he started. Basically, he started out as a little kid with RC cars. And then his dad noticed he has really good hand-eye coordination. Took him to go-karting. From go-karting, went on to F1. And the rest is history. Ain't that interesting? From like a child's form of entertainment, rose one of the most successful careers. Which makes you wonder, do you think bin Laden started out with paper airplanes? Good old bin Laden, great with paper airplanes, horrible at Jenga. Get it? Because the towers and so forth. I'm having a fun day though, mainly because of this specific thing. You know when you watch like medieval fantasy films and they're all in like the wilderness and the forests and there's a bunch of trees and then a gust of wind comes in and if there were no trees, it would be a much stronger gust of wind. What I'm trying to say is that I trimmed my ass recently and my farts have been tremendous. Man, look at me and I'm like, why the fuck do you do that? Listen, I'm a hairy guy. It's got to be clean down there, for fuck's sake. I'm so hairy, I grow these like really thick nose hairs. Like I have to go to the barbers and he like waxes them off with like a Q-tip. One time I went to my barber's, I told him, man, you don't know how essential you are to my life. And he was like, yeah, man, I know you're young, you got to get the girls and all that. I was like, no, I come to you so that I can breathe. But I'm feeling good, man. I took a holiday to come here. I got a part-time job, a pretty cool part-time job. I work at one of those fancy department stores in central London, either Selfridges or Harrods. I'm not going to say which one, but it's definitely not fucking Selfridges. And the reason why I got the job is because I speak Arabic and I deal with all these rich Arab clientele. One time I had a very interesting experience with one of those customers. He was around the age of 35. We were talking for 20 minutes straight. Conversation gone to life goals. I asked him what he wants to do in life, and I shit you not, this is what he says. Usif, all I want to do in life is fuck bitches, pop champagne, and do the cocaine. Amen, yeah? And I was like, okay, Tony Montana. Now, for a normal human being, you'd be weirded out, but for me, that's entertainment, so I decided to carry on with the conversation. I asked him, interesting, how many times have you done that? And I shit you not again, this is what he says. 0. My mom wouldn't let me. And then I was like, bro, you're 35 years of age, you're in London, champagne's everywhere, cocaine is halal to me on weekends. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But then he hits me with the most poetic thing. He's like, yeah, Usif, you're right. I can do whatever the fuck I want, but I've lived a long, privileged life. And from that, all I know is that I'm a combination of my mother's prayers and I'm indebted to her. Just hit me with that most poetic shit. Then I started thinking about my mom, because I was raised Muslim. My mom prays for me a lot. I'd say more than the average mother, because she initially couldn't have kids, then did an operation, inevitably was able to have kids, which is insane to me, because like in order for me to be born, someone had to iPhone jailbreak my mother's pussy. And I was born in 99, so unfortunately my umbilical cord was a basic standard USB. But anyway, I still had this customer right in front of me. I didn't tell him that whole iPhone jailbreak on my mother's pussy shit. I was like, anyways, Mr. Fuck Bitches, pop champagne and do the cocaine. It's been great having this conversation with you in this exact spot. Thanks for shopping at the kids' toys department. All right. So I was born here, stayed here for 5 years, then lived in Lebanon for 10 years of my life. Lebanon's different cultures, different times, crazy people. I remember I had a friend, right? His dad was one of those people who had 2 wives. Just let that sink in. And you can sort of imagine the tension, from having like half siblings and all that. I remember one time we all gathered around having a weird conversation. Have you ever caught your parents having sex? Each one of our friends was traumatized, apart from that one mate. He was like, nah, man, when I caught my actual mum and dad having sex, I wasn't traumatized. I was more like, ha, we're winning. But man, I fucking hated Lebanon. I went from like a third world country I went from like a first world country to a third world country. I felt like a cancelled comedian by the age of 5. I really didn't like it. Here's how much I didn't like it. We were once told to stay at home, watch the TV, something bad's about to happen. And what do you know it? The international airport gets carpet bombed. My dad turns to us and says, looks like we're going back to the UK. And upon hearing that, I've said the most blasphemous thing I've ever said as an Arab. I looked into empty space and was like, thank you, Israel. I'm going to hell. But no, it's fun. I've got a younger brother, man, 7-year difference between me and him. I practically raised him. I remember one time, he was really into penguins by the age of 9. I remember one time he came over to me and tapped me on the thigh and was like, hey, Usif, you want to know why penguins can't fly? I was like, yeah, sure, man, go ahead. He's like, basically, God was like 95% finished with creating them. And he asked them, do you guys want the ability to fly? And the penguins were like, that softens the edge from the fucking bombing. At the age of 12, I started showing him all these like classic movies, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Wizard of Oz. I remember one time after watching Wizard of Oz, you know that thing where she's like, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. He was like, hey, Usif, if you do that with a pair of Air Force Ones, do you end up in Witness? Did research for that one. Didn't work out. Here's a new one. I'm going to end you with a new one. Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, Liverpool. I'm not shitting you guys. Fuck the Tories. I know what they've done to you. But it's a big thing for 2 things. It's the first brown Prime Minister, and it's also the first nationally documented case where a brown person stole a job from a white person. Anyways, guys, I've been Usif Musa. Thank you very much.